What's up, my wizards? It's Dev from Mtg, and happy Monday morning. I got some weekend Ixalan spoilers for your face today. We got to see the Planeswalker deck stuff, and we got to see the real deal version of a brand new red-white Planeswalker that I got a lot to say about. And there's even more than that, so hang out with me for a minute, and we'll go through all these Ixalan spoilers. Let's start by looking at the commons for the Planeswalker decks. First of all, the Jace common is basically removal in the form of like icing a guy for 4 mana, which is probably at least a decent cost when you're just running Planeswalker decks against each other. It's going to be slow-paced games, so you'll take 4 mana to take out their best guy for probably the whole game. It's not bad in this matchup. But as far as the white 2-drop here, the other deck's common, this actually doesn't look too bad. Just 2 mana for a 2/2 Vigilance, and it's got a relevant creature type. That's not really that horrible, to be honest. But looking at the uncommons for the Planeswalker decks, these are actually kind of interesting. Jace's Sentinel, the Jace deck uncommon, is just a 2 mana 1/3, but if you have a Jace, it becomes a 2/3 that can't be blocked. That's actually not bad for a 2 mana investment. I kind of wish that it had the pirate creature type, just because everyone's talking about playing Jace, the new Jace, the 3 mana one, in Pirate Tribal with Skyship Plunderers, so you can get like a really early ultimate. Seems cool and all, so I'd like this guy, since we're playing Jace in that deck. I'd like him to be a pirate, but whatever, we'll take him. In this matchup, again, 2 mana for a 2/3 unblockable is not bad, honestly. In most cases, that's not bad. But you got to have the Jace, so that's kind of dumb. Just a 2 mana 1/3 isn't good enough by itself. But Watley's Spurring is not terrible either, honestly. For an uncommon, it's just 1 mana for a +2/+0 boost. But if you have the Planeswalker, the creature gets a +4/+0. At instant speed, you know, for 1 mana, that's not bad. Especially, again, in this matchup, you're playing this Planeswalker, right? So just 1 mana for a +4/+0 boost is unprecedented in some ways. That's really good. Here are the rares for the Planeswalker decks. They're both 5 mana. The Jace one is not terrible in this matchup because these are slower-paced matchups. So essentially, generating card disadvantage, you know, bouncing 2 of their guys, and you're only spending 1 card is not bad, especially considering you generate card advantage even further by going and getting a Jace. So that doesn't seem like the worst card ever, right? And then Sunblessed Mount, 5 mana for a 4/4 body is basically what you're paying for here, and you get the ETB Tutor, which again, you'll take. It's not bad at all. And it curves into the Planeswalker too. So that's, both of these do, by the way. So that's, you know, not a bad deal, again, in this matchup specifically, but it will see 0 play outside of these decks. And let's finish off the Planeswalker decks by looking at the Planeswalkers. That seems prudent. Here's Jace, Ingenious Mind Mage. We're just going to call him Jim. He's 6 mana for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. You can +1 him to draw a card, you can +1 him to untap all your dudes, or you can -9 him, that's a lot, to gain control of up to 3 target creatures. That ultimate is really awesome, but it's going to take forever to get to it. But I do like that he doesn't have any minuses. That's kind of cool. You know, you can just draw a card. Untap all your guys seems like it could be occasionally relevant, but at 6 mana, I don't see this guy seeing standard play. But of course, they're not. They're geared to not see standard play. I'm not saying that a Planeswalker deck card ever will, but we always talk about it when they come out. We're like, is it possible maybe this time, perhaps? We did that with the 5-mana Gideon last time. Here's, I'm pretty sure this is Huatli right here.
Watley. Watley.
Yeah, it's Watley. It's a brand new Planeswalker we've never seen before, and she's cool. She's a dinosaur knight. It's pretty awesome. She's 2, is 6 mana, for a red and a white. She's a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. You can +2 her to put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target dinosaur you control. You can -3 her and have target dinosaur you control deal damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Or you can -7 her to have dinosaurs you control get +4/+4 until end of turn. So this is essentially bad, you know. Again, this is a card that's really good in this matchup, but we'll see. I say it's probably worse than the Jace, all things considered, you know. It's cool that, like, every ability has the word dinosaur on it somewhere. The 5-year-old in me loves that. But aside from that, it's just not the best card ever, obviously. I do like that it has a form of removal on it, but it puts her at 1 loyalty if you do it the turn she comes into play, and it depends on you having a creature, and I don't know, man. It is technically removal, but even the ultimate is not super impressive by any means. As far as Planeswalker deck Planeswalkers, I like the hype involved in this. She's a dinosaur rider. That's, how cool is that? But it's not a great card. It's not a great card, but we got to see like the actual non-Planeswalker deck version of her over the weekend. I'll get to that at the end of the video. And that one looks a lot better. That's all I'm going to say for now. There are a couple of random not Planeswalker or Planeswalker deck cards that were spoiled over the weekend, and we'll start those with Ixalan's Binding here. Interesting card here, 4 mana, 3 and a white for an enchantment. When Ixalan's Binding enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until Ixalan Binding leaves the battlefield. Your opponents can't cast spells with the same name as the exiled card. So really the question is cast out or this. I think the cast out wins. To be honest, I really like Flash. I can take a lead to cycling. Like, cycling's a great ability to have on it, especially when you think you might get land screwed. Cycling is great to have on cast out, but really I think it's the Flash that makes it the better card in this situation. But I think this is still really cool, and depending on what standard looks like, people might shift towards this card. You know, I like the fact that they can't play the card again ever. It's really relevant sounding, at least. So we'll see if that's worth sorcery speed. End of the day, I don't think that it is. I think cast out's just way better, but I could be totally wrong. Shutting them out of playing the card ever again could definitely be worth it. Here's Sentinel Token. I really like this card. It's just 1 mana for an artifact. It's uncommon, and when it enters the battlefield, you scry 1. You can tap it and exile it to exile all cards from all graveyards. So I like the card, I've already said that, but I don't know if I liked its effect on Standard. Like, just a few months ago, we were all talking about, like, we should have graveyard hate in Standard, and now it's like, we have definitely reached critical mass where, like, maybe we should go ahead and put away our Godfair's Gifts and, like, Liliana's and stuff. I just don't know that reanimation's happening in this format because we have stuff like this. The card does look good. You know, we already had Crook of Condemnation, we got Scavenger Ground, now we got this thing, which, honestly, like, for improvised decks, or like any deck that likes that needs to play artifacts, there's a lot of those, it appears, in the upcoming Standard. This doesn't necessarily like replace Thraben Inspector as much as I'd like it to, but it's really good against specific decks, and it still gives you a 1-drop artifact that fixes your next draw. It's not as good as drawing a card later on down the line, but still fixes your next draw. Anything, any mana can be used to play it. You know, you tap it for improvise. There's just so much that can be done with this that I think it'll definitely see some amount of play. I mean, only 1 mana for Scry 1 is actually not terrible when it leaves a permanent on the battlefield. Lots of stuff you can do with it. Is all I'm saying. Card looks pretty boss. I think it will see some amount of play. Let's bring it home here with Huatli, Warrior Poet. It's not just Watley. You got to do like a Hank Hill, like Huatli, Warrior Poet. It's 5 mana, 3, a red, and a white for a 3 loyalty Planeswalker. You can +2 her to gain life equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. You can 0 her, that's cool, just 0, to create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample, or you can -X her, that is also cool, to have her deal X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures. Creatures dealt damage this way can't block this turn. Well, I've had a whole weekend, or like a day and a half really, to get a lot of opinions on this card. You know, I've seen a lot on different message boards and whatnot, but I actually think this card's really good, and I've seen a lot of people discounting it so far. I think 5 mana is a lot. I get that, don't get me wrong, but you can 0 it to create a 3/3 with trample. That's not bad at all. Protects herself in that way, and protects herself fairly well, too. You can also gain life, which I think is going to be relevant for some decks more so than it usually is. I really like this with the horse. You know, they both cost 5, but at least it's a way to gain life the turn the horse enters the battlefield. It's always been important for Crested Sunmare. This card does it pretty well, and again, creates more creatures and stuff for you, and has a -X. I think that's actually really important. Sometimes, like, it's because it's so versatile. Sometimes you can take out a guy and keep another dude from blocking. Sometimes against small creature decks, you can just take out like 3 dudes. That's cool. Or just take out a couple of guys and leave her with some loyalty. You can just +2 her the first turn she's out. And then you got 5 loyalty to play with that -X next turn. Like, there's just a lot that last ability can do. So I really like this Planeswalker. If you can keep her on the battlefield for just 2 or 3 turns, she can end up doing a lot of work for you. Gaining some life, get a creature, take out a couple of dudes, maybe like enable an Alpha Strike. There's just so much that this can do. I think it's worth 5 mana. And yeah, I'll be the first to admit, like, the first ability isn't super impressive, just gaining life, whatever, and you have to have a creature out. It's not great. But the other 2 abilities, I think, more than make up for how meh the first ability is. And it's cool that at least the first ability gives you 2 loyalty, so that's nice. Especially considering, again, untapping and having 5 loyalty on her. If you can pull that off, then that -X can do so much. And it's just cool that it's another Planeswalker that can ultimate the turn she comes into play. So those tend to be at least worth looking at. So really can't wait to try some stuff out with this Planeswalker. I'm not going to say that she's the best thing ever right now, but I will say she's a lot better than people are giving her credit for. I can tell you that right now. That's all the spoilers I got to talk about for this video, but super special announcement later on today, Monday, in case you're counting, I'm going to be putting out my actual exclusive preview for Ixalan, and it's really good. They've been sending me some super dope cards lately. Like, I got Abandoned Sarcophagus last time, I got Sandworm Convergence before that, and this card for Ixalan, I think, is the best card they've sent me so far. So make sure you stay tuned for that video. It'll be out later this evening on Monday. So make sure you sub to the channel if you haven't yet, so you'll get that video in your inbox. You can also check out my Spanta, TCG player right here. They make sure that I keep bringing you awesome content, as do my patrons. So make sure if you're not a patron yet, you kick me a buck on Patreon. That'll help the channel out like a lot. So do all that stuff. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later on today. I'm Dev from SBMTG. Thanks for watching, my wizards.